Have you ever been in that spot where you have bad news for your boss and you just hesitate? Or maybe you've seen a coworker get totally shut down for pointing out a serious problem? Well, today we're diving into a really powerful article by Dr. Helene Lavoie that gets to the heart of why this happens, why we shoot the messenger, and how this ancient instinct can be a total disaster for any modern leader. Let's get right into it. We're going to start our story almost 2,000 years ago with this pretty chilling quote from the historian Plutarch. I mean, it just perfectly captures this whole idea of shooting the messenger. And as we're about to see, this is way more than just a metaphor. It's a timeless and, frankly, a dangerous warning. Right, so the king in that story was a real person, Tigranes the Great of Armenia. And his story, his reign, is a perfect case study in how a leader's refusal to face an uncomfortable truth can lead directly to, well, catastrophe. And just look at how fast things fell apart for him. So Tigranes gets this absolutely critical warning, right? The Roman army is coming. And what's his reaction? He executes the guy who told him. Instantly, the flow of honest information just stops. Dead. Now he's surrounded by yes-men, people only telling him what he wants to hear. The result? Completely inevitable. He's blindsided and totally crushed. So what was going on here inside his head? This isn't just some character flaw of ancient kings. Not at all. Modern psychology actually has a name for this exact behavior. Drawing on research from scholars like Daniel Williams, Dr. Lavoie calls it a cognitive bias known as motivated ignorance. Motivated ignorance, it's basically the active, on-purpose refusal to know something because we feel like the truth is just too expensive, it's too painful, or it's going to be too difficult to deal with. And according to researchers Goleman, Hegman, and Lowenstein, this isn't just about being uninformed. For this to happen, two very specific conditions have to be met. And here they are, laid out perfectly. First, you have to know the information is out there. And second, you have to actively choose to look away. This is the key. It's not about a lack of data or access. It's a deliberate choice to stay in the dark. And that one choice, well, it kicks off a really dangerous cycle. Think about it like this. By shutting out new, challenging information, we're basically choosing to keep our own understanding of a situation really shallow. We never go any deeper. And when our knowledge is shallow, it makes us super vulnerable to another nasty cognitive bias you might have heard of, the Dunning-Kruger effect. And this is where it becomes a really vicious cycle. You avoid the facts, which means your knowledge stays pretty basic. But here's the trap. Because you don't know what you don't know, you actually become wildly overconfident. That's Dunning-Kruger in a nutshell. Then, that false confidence convinces you that you don't need any new information, which just reinforces why you avoided it in the first place. It is a self-sealing loop where ignorance breeds confidence, which then breeds even more ignorance. So you gotta ask, why on earth would anyone, especially a leader, with so much at stake, fall into this trap? Well, Dr. Lavoie's analysis points to four really powerful, very human psychological drivers that push us toward this motivated ignorance. I mean, really understanding these four root causes is the absolute first step to building an organization that can actually face the truth, even when it's tough. First up, and this one's a biggie, it's all about avoiding negative feelings. I mean, nobody likes to feel anxious or regretful or ashamed, right? So our brain takes a shortcut. It says, hey, if I don't know about the problem, I don't have to feel bad about it. It prioritizes feeling good right now over being safe later. Next, there's avoiding accountability. This is the classic, if I didn't know, you can't blame me defense. Ignorance becomes this shield. If a leader can just claim they were never told about the crisis brewing, they can try to dodge responsibility when it all comes crashing down. It's a whole strategy built on plausible deniability. Reason number 3, we hate quagmires. You know that feeling? You suspect that if you really knew the truth, you'd be forced to wade into something incredibly complicated, expensive, or just plain messy. It just feels so much easier to pretend the problem isn't there. And the last one is a real doozy. It's about protecting our cherished beliefs. This is all about identity. If some new information threatens who we are, or our place in our tribe, our company culture, well, it's just a whole lot easier to dismiss the information than to question our identity. Okay, so that all sounds pretty bleak, right? We're up against some really powerful psychological forces here. But the good news is, we can fight back.
we can actually design specific antidotes for each of these four root causes and start building organizations that are a lot more like Lucullus. Antidote number one, we have to completely reframe how we think about negative emotions. Instead of running away from anxiety, what if we saw it for what it really is? It's a survival signal. It's an alarm bell that's screaming, hey, attention, act now. It's data, not a disease. Next up, for those accountability dodgers, the solution has to be structural. You have to take away the excuse. You build systems, whether that's through company policy, industry standards, or even laws, that create a duty to know. You make willful blindness an absolutely indefensible position. And hey, this isn't just some academic theory. Look at New Zealand. This is a fantastic, real-world example. They've literally made it the law that financial firms have to know and disclose their climate risks. They have structurally removed the option to look away. Motivated ignorance is just not an option there. So, how do you tackle that fear of the quagmire? You have to make the cost of doing nothing feel way more real and way more terrifying than the cost of taking action. You use clear scenarios to show leaders that today's messy problem, if ignored, becomes tomorrow's absolute catastrophe. And finally, that really tricky one, cherished beliefs. You have to be smart about this. The messenger needs to understand the culture they're walking into. Now, this doesn't mean twisting the facts, not at all. It means framing the warning in a way that doesn't feel like a direct attack on the group's core identity. You separate the data from the identity. So, in the end, this ancient story from Plutarch really just boils down to a timeless choice, a fundamental choice that every single leader in every single organization has to make. You can follow the Tigrana's model, you shoot the messenger, you embrace willful blindness, you surround yourself with people who only tell you you're great, and you march confidently right off a cliff. Or you can choose the Lucullus model. Listen to the warnings, practice informed analysis, seek out genuine expertise, and actually lead your team to victory. So I'll leave you with this question. Think about your own workplace, your own team. Who gets the pat on the back? Is it the messenger who brings you the uncomfortable, inconvenient truth? Or is it the courtier, the one who makes everyone feel good, even if it's based on a complete fantasy? The answer to that question will tell you everything you need to know about which path your organization is on.